Groundbreaking and trailblazing academic exercise, respected journalist and former Dex editor of the Post newspaper Abba Isidore has successfully defended his doctoral thesis in mass communication on May 9, 2026. The historic defense, conducted from Germany, marks the first time a PhD candidate in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication has defended entirely online. The hybrid academic session, coordinated from the University of Boya's IT Center, was chaired by Senator Emeritus Professor Mboyomo Charles. The milestone event has been widely hailed as innovative and forward-looking by the head of department, Associate Professor Nengi Lizzie, who described it as a pace-setting achievement for the institution.
This is the first online defense presentation done at the Research Center of the University, showing that we have moved to the digital era where our students can defend abroad. So we have no fear of, we must not be on seats because the university has made provisions for a center where we can actually hold defenses online. And that should be an applaud to the university and the government to serve the interests of our students and to serve the will of the university.
Dr. Abba's thesis, titled The Political Economic of the Print Media, it states challenges and prospects for journalism practice in Cameroon, offers a compelling and incisive analysis of the structural forces shaping.
And other factors are very important when you talk about the survival of print media, and these are very concerning issues.
The study reveals that media outlets financed by political or business interests are more likely to engage in biased reporting, often resorting to what the researcher termed praise-singing journalism. In contrast, independently funded media organizations demonstrate greater editorial integrity and professionalism, despite highlighting persistent challenges such as dwindling advertising revenue, weak reading culture, and constructive regulatory frameworks. The research affirms the resilience and enduring relevance of the print media sector, citing its commitment to credibility and ethical standards.
The average mark is 86.4, which is excellent.
Awarded an excellent grade, Dr. Abba's achievement not only crowns a distinguished academic journey, but also signals a new era of digital adaptability and academic excellence at the University of Boya. The historic online defense stands out as a testament to the institution's commitment to innovation in higher education.
We stay in line with journalism and mass communication, where citizen journalism and content creation on a new perspective. This is the theme that characterized a workshop which took place in Yaoundé, organized by the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists Yaoundé chapter. Honorin Cheng took interest in the story, and she puts together the following for News Hour.
The president of the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists, Kamasesh Yaoundé Adjumane Francis Akam, has schooled his peers on citizen journalism and the content creation a new perspective. He was speaking recently over the weekend during activities that mark the continuation of World Press Freedom Day 2026, holding under the project Citizen Journalism and the Content Creation in a Digital Era. The Yaoundé-based journalists were enjoined to shun hate speech, both online and offline. The workshop, it should be recalled, took place at the Civic Watch head office in the presence of Ganle Law, its representative, and other key actors in the journalism milieu. Meantime, this year's 2026 theme is Shaping the Future at Peace, Promoting Press Freedom for Human Rights, Development and Security.
On to other news, tradition has met with modern governance in Boya last week as FACO chiefs gathered for a landmark 3-day seminar themed Traditional Institutions and Good Governance, Chiefs as Agents of Peace and Stability. Organized by the Booker's International Law Firm, the event brought together custodians of tradition to explore how age-old leadership can adapt to today's challenges. Details in the following report. Aimed at strengthening peace and community development, for 3 days, the chiefs were trained on modules ranging from the responsible use of social media to ethical leadership, fairness, moral integrity, and transparency. A highlight was panel discussion, moderated by Barrister Noveliza Etabison, President of the Fako Lawyers Association, who emphasized the importance of chiefs as mediators in land disputes and guardians against frequent court battles.
What is very alarming is land management. And the chiefs are not just custodians of our cultures and our customs, they are the custodians of ancestral land. And so it was our privilege to remind them that they do not just hold the land for those who are living today. Land belongs to those who have gone before us, to those who are living today, and to those who would come tomorrow. And so we thought it wise to remind our chiefs that it is important to be accountable in the management of customary land. They should not take it as a means of enriching themselves. Give them was that it's better for a chief to go to bed poorer with a good name than to go to bed rich because he has amassed the communal land for himself. It is important because most of the strife we have in our communities in Fako are over land. And 3/4 of the times, the population thinks that the chiefs are using the land which should be for the community for their self-interest. We know that it is difficult to manage people, especially when you have diverse thoughts. But if they are accountable, if they are transparent in their dealings with land, we are sure that they would properly administer their communities and manage the land for those who are living and those to come.
In a powerful address, His Royal Majesty Dr. Molive Molongo Otto, President of the Fako Chiefs, urged his peers to stand as the first wall against violence. He called for unity and synergy, stressing that only one voice can ensure peace prevails in their communities. While praising the initiative, he also appealed for more such engagements to deepen their role as agents of stability.
Some of my colleagues, we have been lectured here for these 3 days. So it's an important seminar that we pray that Booker's International Law Firm, when next coming, they should add the aspect of traditional rights, because most of our young chiefs today, we see that they are having some challenges if it comes to do traditional rights, because there are some words that you in tune when you are talking to the gods. So we like that with this medium, and in our various conferences that we have, in our monthly meetings, we would like to bring up this aspect so that we prepare a foundation that will pass down to the younger generations.
As the conference closed, the message was clear. Chiefs are expected to return to their villages, not just as traditional rulers, but as peace builders, ready to foster healthy, transparent, and developed communities. On to this sad page, veteran Cameroonian journalist Njomo Kevin, also known as Uncle Njomo or Pan Njomo by many, has gone to rest. Honorin Chang zooms into his profile as a seasoned journalist and sports lover. Take a listen.
My brother go back in the way you did for Douala, you did hear something? The whole is sweet.
Veteran Cameroonian journalist Njomo Kevin, fondly known by many as Uncle Njomo or Pa Njomo, has died. Pa Njomo was widely known for his long service in journalism, especially in broadcasting and sports reporting. He worked with CRTV and was also associated with Mount Cameroon FM, where he served as station manager. In a 2028 interview, he spoke about his upbringing in Kumba, his education in the Southwest region, and his deep love for journalism, religion, music, and tennis. Over the years, Njomo Kevin built a reputation as one of Cameroon's old-school media voices. His career was strongly linked to football commentary and the sports analysis. In 2020, the Mail and Guardian described him as a veteran sports journalist with over more than 40 years of experience covering Cameroonian football. He was also known for speaking frankly about corruption and the weaknesses in the country's football structures. Beyond journalism, Jomo Kevin also served in football administration. In 2017, he was appointed to the FECAFOOT Normalization Committee after FIFA intervened in the management of Cameroonian football. In recent years, he remained active through Jomo Kevin TV and the Dream FM, where he shared sports memories, cultural stories, historical reflections in what became known as Storytime with Uncle Njomo. The platform represented him as a media veteran, using storytelling to preserve Cameroon's social and sporting memory. His death is a major loss to Cameroon's media family, especially to those who grew up listening to his voice, learning from his knowledge of sports, and following his reflections on the country's past and present.
To be my angel, to guide me where I go. I want you by my side, be my girl.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Cameroon's customs authorities have declared that in less than 3 weeks, between April 1 and April 17, 2026, 29,000 mobile phones were officially declared under the new digital system for collecting duties on mobile phones. Details we share on Twitter.
Cameroon's Custom Authority says its new digital system for collecting duties on mobile phones is already changing import patterns. Between April 1st and April 17, 2026, 29,000 mobile phones were officially declared through the new mechanism. By April 25th, that number had climbed to 5,819 devices in 25 days. The reform, which went live on April 1st, 2026, replaces all border-based controls with an IMEI tracking system tied to the Cameroon's Customs Information System. Every phone, tablet or digital terminal now has to be registered using its IMEI number and have duties paid electronically before it can connect to local telecom networks. If it's not cleared, it gets blocked from licensed networks. For years, airports like Yaoundé, Simalen saw very few formal phones imports because smuggling was easier and cheaper. Custom officials say the new digital border has pushed importers back into formal channels. At Simalen alone, about 10,000 devices were still being processed in the warehouse as of April 22nd. Despite concerns from traders that prices might rise, custom officials insist no new taxes have been introduced. The system is based on Article 6 of the 2023 Finance Law and actually cuts the access value of phones by 50% before applying duties. The standard duty remains 33.3%. The bigger goal is recovery. Custom revenue from mobile phones had collapsed from about 12 billion francs CFA to just 100 billion francs CFA in recent years. Authorities now project the new system could generate 25 billion francs CFA annually, up from 1.3 billion francs CFA currently collected. Phones already connected to a local network before April 2026 get a fiscal amnesty and won't be blocked. Tourists and short-stay visitors are exempted during their stay. Buyers can now check a device custom status via free SMS or web tools by entering the IME before purchasing. This is Cameroon's second attempt at an IMEI-based system. The first was introduced in the 2019 Finance Act but faced resistance and was suspended. This time, officials are betting that automation and network blocking will close the loopholes that cost the state an estimated 21.5 billion francs CFA a year in lost revenue. Cameroon is moving from physical border checks to a tech-driven enforcement model, whether it brings more revenue without hurting affordability is the next test.
Sharon Tita ending that report there. Gerontocracy versus youthful exuberance has been an age-old experience in Africa, where youth want to take power while the old remain in leadership. The recent death toll of the aged in Cameroon has been a call for concern, as Mwambo William tells us more.
In recent weeks, the flag of Cameroon have often flown at half-mast, marking the end of an era as several high-ranking officials and state patriarchs have passed away. From the state to the legislative, civil and religious ranks, the nation is witnessing a winding off of its men and women of wisdom. This death toll is not merely a tally of losses. It is the closing of a chapter that has defined the public since its formative years. These leaders belong to a unique generation, the bridge between colonial administration and sovereign statehood. They are often described as people of wisdom because they carried the institutional memories of Cameroon's reunification and the early struggles for national integration. Having served under both presidents, Amadou Ahidjo and Paul Biya, their presence offered a sense of continuity and stability that anchored the nation through various socio-economic and political crises. To the next generation, especially the youth, these elders leave behind a complex inheritance. The sudden vacuum created by these departures have several immediate consequences. Institutionally, with several seats in the parliament and government which are now vacant, there is a risk of legislative and state operational paralysis. Their deaths trigger internal struggles for succession within the ruling CPDM party and the military hierarchy. To navigate this delicate period, the state must move beyond mourning towards active renewal, like organizing by-elections for vacant positions in parliament and government respectively. Formalize the transfer of state wisdom from the remaining elders to younger technocrats. Effectively decentralize power to local authorities to ensure governance continues even in the absence of the central power. Actively integrate younger leaders into strategic positions to prevent a sudden governance shock when the final veterans depart. As the sun sets on the independence generation, Cameroon stands at a crossroads. We must honor the wisdom and sacrifice of those who built the foundation of our state, while recognizing that a nation's vitality lies in its ability to regenerate. The true tributes to these fallen patriots will not be found in the grandeur of their funerals, but in the courage of the next generation to pick up the torch and lead Cameroon into a modern, inclusive future. I rest my case.
Mwambo William ending that report. If you're just tuning in, this is News Hour on Royal Television. We want to take you out of the country. Let's start in France, where French President Emmanuel Macron has defended Europe's partnership with Africa while calling for renewed cooperation. This was during a visit to Nairobi in Kenya, and health authorities have evacuated passengers from a cruise ship after a suspected hantavirus outbreak on board the ship raised serious health concerns. Nanga Sonia has a foreign page.
French President Emmanuel Macron used a two-day economic summit in Nairobi, Kenya, to defend Europe's engagement in Africa, drawing a sharp contrast with China's approach and urging African leaders to take greater responsibility for governance challenges. In an interview, he strongly condemned colonialism upon taking office in 2017, but argued that Africa's current difficulties cannot be attributed solely to its colonial past. Macron insisted that Europe is not the predator of this century, defending its commitment to multilateralism, the rule of law, and open trade. By contrast, he accused China of operating with a predatory logic on criminal minerals, processing resources at home, and creating global dependencies. France withdrew its troops from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger after military juntas seized power between 2020 and 2023. Macron said Paris has respected the decisions of those governments. That wasn't a humiliation but a logical response. He maintained that France's military deployments in the Sahel had been at the request of local governments to counter jihadist groups. Looking ahead, Macron predicted a political resurgence in the region. A new era is about to start. The Sahel will one day regain normal governance, he said, with democratically elected leaders who genuinely care about their people. Passengers evacuated from the hantavirus-stricken cruise ship MV Hondius began flying home on military and government aircraft after the vessel anchored in Tenerife, with one American testing positive and a French traveler developing symptoms during their separate repatriation flights on Sunday. 17 Americans were flown out, and U.S. officials have confirmed that one tested positive for hantavirus despite showing no symptoms. French authorities reported that one of their 5 evacuees developed symptoms mid-flight, prompting strict isolation from the entire group upon arrival in Paris. Passengers were escorted off the ship by teams in full protective suits. Spanish nationals were flown first to Madrid, while evacuation flights for more than 20 nationalities continued throughout the day. Some crew members, along with the body of a passenger who died on board, remained on the Hondius as it sailed to Rotterdam for full disinfection. The World Health Organization recommends daily health checks for all repatriated passengers for up to 8 weeks. Meanwhile, the outbreak extended far beyond Tenerife. British Army medics parachuted into the remote territory of Tristan da Cunha to treat a suspected case in one of its 221 residents. As evacuation flights continue and monitoring intensifies, global health authorities insist the situation remains contained but far from over.
Let's now talk sports in this newscast, where Cameroon's under-20 Lionesses saw their World Cup dreams slip through their fingers in devastating fashion as a commanding first-leg advantage was overturned by a resilient Tanzanian side, condemning them to a heartbreaking exit on away goals after a 2-0 defeat in the return leg. Kusana Claudia Voma has the details.
What began as a promising qualification campaign for the under-20 Lionesses ended in heartbreak as they failed to capitalize on a 3-1 first-leg victory and succumbed to a 2-0 defeat away to Tanzania. Their result saw the tie end 3-3 on aggregate, but Tanzania advanced on the away goal rule, completing a stunning turnaround in the front line in front of their home fans. Arriving in Tanzania with confidence and a clear advantage, the Lionesses were widely expected to finish the job and secure their ticket to the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. However, football once again proved unpredictable. Tanzania approached the encounter with urgency, intensity and belief, putting Cameroon under pressure from the outset. The host aggressive pressing and organized play disrupted Cameroon's rhythm, forcing errors and limiting their attacking options. As the match progressed, Tanzania found the breakthrough they desperately needed, reigniting hopes of a comeback. The goal shifted the momentum entirely, with Cameroon beginning to show signs of nervousness and defensive instability. Tanzania's second goal further compounded Cameroon's problem, leveling the aggregate score to 3-3 and leaving the Lionesses on the brink. Despite needing just one goal away to swing the tie, back in their favor, Cameroon struggled to respond. Their attacking efforts lacked precision and creativity, with key chances going begging and their overall play falling short of expectations. The final stages of the match were marked by desperation from the Lionesses, but Tanzania remained resolute.
defending their discipline and composure to secure a famous qualification. At the final whistle, it was jubilation for Tanzania and heartbreak for Cameroon, whose World Cup hopes had slipped away in a matter of 90 minutes. This elimination is particularly painful given Cameroon's recent pedigree at youth level. The Lionesses had previously established themselves as one of Africa's emerging forces, impressing in past tournaments and raising expectations of another strong showing on the global stage. Instead, they are left to reflect on missed opportunities and lessons unlearned. The defeat also highlights critical areas for improvement, including game management, mental resilience, and the ability to perform under pressure in defensive moments. Holding a 3-1 advantage, Cameroon needed composure and tactical discipline, but ultimately fell short against a side that simply wanted it more on a day. With Cameroon's exit confirmed, Africa's representatives for the upcoming FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Poland are now complete. Powerhouses like Nigeria's Under-20 women's national team and Ghana Under-20 women's national team have once again secured their spots, continuing their strong presence at youth level. They will be joined by Benin Under-20 national team and a jubilant Tanzania Under-20 women's national team side who sealed qualification in a dramatic style against Cameroon and Cote d'Ivoire respectively. For Coach Hassan Bala and his players, the road ends in disappointment, but the journey does not stop here. The focus now shifts to rebuilding, learning from this painful setback and preparing for future competitions with renewed determination.
The University of Buea has urged its name in academic innovation as seasoned journalist Abba Isidore has defended his PhD thesis in a first-ever online defense in the Department of JMC. Out of Cameroon, we told you that health authorities have evacuated passengers from a cruise ship after a suspected hantavirus outbreak on board the ship raised serious health concerns. And in sports, Cameroon's Under-20 Lionesses saw their World Cup dreams slip through their fingers in a devastating fashion as a commanding first leg advantage was overturned by a resilient Tanzanian side. Dear viewers, this is where we put a cap on today's edition of News Hour. It has been a production of Sonita Nguni, technical assistance from Issa Abdullahi, general supervision from Alaji Bubasali, and presented by me, Frida Leina. See you tomorrow, same time, same channel, for another edition of News Hour. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Ensemble, prions pour la nourriture et la boisson. C'est